I 3D printed this, and even these. One print took almost 5 days. Another had over 3,000 filament changes. One looked like a complete disaster halfway through, and somehow still finished perfectly. So after throwing ABS, ASA, TPU, multicolor printing, and some pretty ridiculous project at the H2D, I think I found something interesting. Welcome to Pixel Forge Lab, my name is Alessio. I'm keeping the complete unboxing for a separate video because that will become its own thing. In fact, the link of the video is in the box below for you to support my channel and become a member too. But the setup itself was pretty straightforward. Classic Bambu Lab. And I gotta say, really great experience too. Super well packaged. Once everything was assembled, it was time to stop looking at the printer and start making it suffer. I started with ABS because if a printer struggles with temperature control, ABS usually tells you immediately. I 3D printed this large bin and lid using Polymaker ABS. The lid took almost 5 hours, while the main body took over 16 hours. And one thing I was paying attention to during the whole print was warping. Large flat surfaces like this usually love lifting corners and causing problems, especially on longer prints. But here the heated chamber was doing exactly what it's supposed to do. No lifting, no separation. Just clean layers and consistent surfaces. And the result speaks for itself. Then I moved to ASA, very similar to ABS, but usually a little less forgiving. Again, I 3D printed the exact same design because I actually needed it in the new studio. The first layer looked extremely clean. And after more than 17 hours of printing, still no visible warping. At this point, things were already starting to feel very reliable. Anger from Inside Out has officially become my benchmark test for multicolor printing, but this time I scaled it almost to full printer size, because I really wanted to stress the machine to the max. Large model, multiple colors, long print time, lots and lots of filament changes. And visually, things already looked pretty impressive while printing. Transitions looked clean, details looked sharp, everything looked under control. But then I wanted something even more aggressive. For the last real stress test on the H2D, I loaded up this Black Panther helmet using PETG support materials and multiple colors. And honestly, this one was a little scary. For last test on the H2D, I really wanted to push this at the max. So I'm gonna print this Black Panther helmet with the PETG supports and 3 colors. It's going to be pretty amazing if it doesn't fail, because there are going to be over 3,000 filament changes. So hopefully it doesn't fail. My experience with the PETG and PLA supports was a little bit weird on the statue, so hopefully, fingers crossed, this one will go. So let's send the print and we'll see in 4 days. We are talking over 3,000 filament changes. Estimated print time, 4 days. At this point, you're not testing speed anymore, you're testing reliability. Because one issue halfway through means losing multiple days of printing. Eventually, after 4 days and 16 hours, the print was finished. Almost 2 kilograms of filament used, and honestly, seeing it finally come off the build plate felt pretty satisfying. Truth to be told, wearing it made me feel like a kid again. Such a cool mask. Definitely worth the time spent on it. And this is where multicolor printing becomes interesting, because visually the results look amazing, but every color change means waste. Purge material, prime tower, filament swaps. And once you start printing large projects like this, those numbers add up very quickly. At this point, I've already thrown quite a bit at the H2D. Large ABS parts, long ASA prints, multicolor projects with thousands of filament changes, and honestly, testing machines like this always starts giving me ideas for projects that go beyond standard printed parts. Because sometimes plastic just isn't enough. Maybe you need stronger materials, metal parts, CNC machining, or even custom PCBs. And actually that brings me to the sponsor of this part of the video, PCBWay. I've worked with PCBWay for a long time now. And what I like is that they're not just a PCB company anymore. They can do CNC machining, sheet metal, resin printing, SLS nylon parts, injection molding, and even high-quality metal printing. So if you're building something where regular printed parts aren't enough anymore, you can upload your files directly and get professional parts manufactured. If you want to check them out, I'll leave the links down below. Now, speaking of pushing printers even further, and here I completely changed direction. Time for flexible materials. I tested BQ Moreflex with these boots that I actually purchased from MakerWorld, link in the box below. Flexible filaments can sometimes become frustrating, especially with feeding systems. In fact, before starting printing with the BQ filament, I 3D printed this model from MakerWorld to accommodate the AMS HT. And surprisingly, the results came out pretty clean. Layer consistency stayed good. Supports removed without too much pain, and the flexibility felt exactly like you would expect. And if you're interested in these boots, I actually made a full dedicated short video about them. Make sure to check it out. Then I pushed things even further and 3D printed these shoes. Seeing something like this halfway through always looks a bit ridiculous. It almost looks like a failed print. Then you remove it, take off the supports, and suddenly you're holding an actual wearable object. And honestly, they were way more comfortable than expected. For this pyramid, I tested Polymaker's new PLA Pro. And just to be clear, this isn't a rebrand. This is a new PLA Pro lineup designed around modern high-speed printing. Right now, there are 10 colors available, with more coming later. The idea is simple. Keep it easy to print while improving impact resistance and toughness. And visually, surface finish looked excellent. Now, not everything went perfectly. For this self-bust, the prime tower decided to become a problem. It failed. I tried fixing it manually, then it failed again. At that point, I honestly thought that the print was done, but I let it continue anyway. And somehow, after a cleanup, it actually turned out surprisingly good. Sometimes 3D printing still likes to surprise you. Then I 3D printed this full-size silk vase using Polymaker Panchroma Starlight Neptune. Silk materials usually expose imperfection very quickly, because reflections exaggerate every little defect. But here, the layer consistency looked really solid. Then I wanted to test something much simpler: first layer quality. Because honestly, first layers tell you a lot about the printer. This one came out almost perfectly uniform. Even bending it aggressively, the layers stayed bonded extremely well. And finally, one last print, the mask from Jim Carrey, one of my favorite movies. Clean supports removal, sharp details, good surface finish. I'm not gonna lie, I tried to turn myself into the mask. But I forgot that it works only at night. So, by this point, a pattern was starting to show. The H2D isn't impressive because one specific print. It's impressive because across completely different projects, it just keeps behaving the same way. Reliable first layers, good dimensional accuracy, clean surfaces, very few surprises. Of course, I still want to push deeper into speed, waste efficiency, and machine-specific features, but from a pure print quality perspective, it's getting harder to complain. So after all this, ABS, ASA, multicolor monsters, flexible prints, failed parts, long 4-day jobs, I think you can finally see the real picture. This machine has some very clear strengths. First one is consistency. Once it's dialed in, it just repeats good results over and over again. First layers are reliable, adhesion is solid, and even on long prints, you're not constantly babysitting it. Second is temperature control. ABS and ASA are usually where printers start acting weird, especially on big flat parts. But here, it just didn't care. No warping, no drama. That alone already puts it in a different category. Then multicolor. It's not just it works. It actually handles huge, complex jobs without losing detail. Thousands of filament changes and it's still finished. And that's insane reliability for that kind of workload. And finally, general print quality, surface finish, detail, dimensional accuracy, everything stays pretty high without too much tuning. But it's not perfect. The biggest downside is waste. Multicolor printing looks amazing, but you pay for it in purge material and time, a lot of it. Obviously, with some exception for the shoes that use PLA supports and the mask that use PETG supports with the dual nozzle. And also, it's not a set and forget forever machine. You still need to understand materials, slicing and pressure advanced type tuning if you really want the best results. It won't just magically fix bad settings. Also, long prints are great until they fail, because when something goes wrong, you are not losing 2 hours, but you're losing days. So what's my honest take? It's very capable, very stable production style printer, not a toy, not a beginner machine, more like something you use when you actually need parts that just come out right. And yes, I've still got a lot I want to push it through. Definitely consider using the affiliate link if you want to buy a Bambu Lab H2D. That will help the channel to keep going and it won't make any difference to you, just a gesture of appreciation. All the links for the models I used for this video are in the box below, as well as the affiliate links for Polymaker's filament. You may want to consider to join the channel or become a Patreon to see all the full unboxing videos, bloopers, and more. And that's all for today's video. But stay tuned for next week because I'm gonna do a side-to-side comparison H2D versus X2D. Thank you so much for watching, and as usual, I'll catch you on the next one.